When people talk about sustainability, what do they really mean? What is a sustainable business? What is it to live a sustainable lifestyle? The concept of sustainability seems almost deceptively simple, but in practice it can be a really complex area, and attempts to oversimplify it often lead to people making decisions that have far-reaching unexpected impacts. Hi, and welcome to the first episode of Sustainable Business Basics, where I'll be talking about key concepts and theories in sustainable business every week. You can consider this a bite-sized weekly crash course in the key elements of corporate sustainability. And today we're looking at the definition of sustainability, the 3 pillars of sustainability, and the triple bottom line. These are important foundational ideas for understanding sustainability in a business context. So when you ask someone for the definition of sustainability, there are 2 answers that you're most likely to get. The first is the dictionary definition, which is the quality of being able to continue over a period of time. The other one is what's known as the Brundtland Commission definition, which is actually a definition of sustainable development, but they are used pretty interchangeably. And that's development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. That's it. Simple enough, right? Except, what are the needs of the present? How do we know what the needs of the future will be or how they'll be able to meet them? How are we defining need in this context? A lot of efforts have been made to model what sustainability actually looks like, especially for businesses, because as we all know, businesses like to be able to show off when they're doing something well, which I know sounds really cynical, but it's true. One of the early models for demonstrating this is something called the triple bottom line. And this came out of the management consulting industry and their efforts to measure performance in a company. It's based on something that we call the 3 pillars of sustainability. The 3 pillars of sustainability are economic, social, and environmental. You'll often see these referred to as people, planet, and profit. And in the traditional triple bottom line configuration, they look like this: 3 separate pillars. This is used in organizations to measure performance in the same way as the traditional financial bottom line, which shows the profit or loss for the year. Now, the idea behind the triple bottom line is that we shouldn't only be thinking about profit and loss in economic terms, but across all 3 pillars. And the idea there is that a company's contribution in each area would be measured annually with a view to constant increases across all areas, ideally. It's also meant to help a company pay attention to the total impact of their actions. And yes, social impact and environmental impact can be more difficult to measure than financial, but there are plenty of tools available that can support a company in this type of assessment. So then the question is, do companies really do this? And the answer is sort of. Some companies do use triple bottom line to assess new ideas, and more are publishing reports that detail their progress in key elements of all 3 areas. You'll usually find these called sustainability reports, CSR reports, or ESG reports. Although in a lot of cases, these read more like a highlight reel than a detailed corporate account. But there's certainly been increasing awareness in the need to consider all 3 areas in decision making, and a lot of this has been brought on by major corporate scandals. But triple bottom line isn't only for companies. It can and it has been used by charities, governments, and even by individuals. A lot of people that work in sustainability and in policy don't really feel that triple bottom line is enough. And there's several reasons behind that, including that it doesn't provide enough detail in each pillar. So there's a lot of things that fall under environment, that it puts more emphasis on year-on-year improvement rather than hitting a specific sustainable level. So you'll look better if you were terrible to start with. And that it skews thinking towards all 3 being of equal importance, or that it allows companies to get away with prioritizing profits over the other 2 as long as the other 2 pillars are seen as good enough. One development that we can look at this through is that of using them more as a Venn diagram rather than 3 pillars. So sustainability is that center bit where all 3 intersect. This lets us apply it in a more general sense as well. So you can look at what sustainability looks like for society as a whole, rather than specifically on a company or individual model. And it also promotes balance between the 3 pillars. But like the traditional triple bottom line, has met with criticism for suggesting that all 3 are of equal importance. Newer models have emerged that attempt to address these concerns. And if you pop back next week, we'll look at how they've done this and what else these other models ask us to consider. But for now, I'd love to know what you think of the triple bottom line. Do you think all three pillars are of equal importance? And maybe give some thought to what it would look like in your life if you took the time each year to assess yourself on a triple bottom line format.